Hey everyone, Duke Nougat 3D here with another mask from my collection, and today I have my Russian Protivogaz Rakatne Voiska Ilushny, or Gas Mask Rocket Troops Improved, or more commonly known as the PRV-U gas mask set. These were designed sometime, I believe, in the 1970s, correct me if I'm wrong, as the replacement for the older PRV Rocket Troops mask, which was essentially just an SHM41M or a potentially even an SHM62 that used a hose sleeve and a special filter and a special designated carrier for use with rocket refueling crews and RPG crews potentially, and anyone that needed a bit of extra heat protection for refueling ICBMs and missiles and things of that nature. The PRV-U utilized the SHMS-R, which is basically an SHMS face piece, but it had the improvement of a more protected voice diaphragm, and it was otherwise completely identical to the SHMS other than its voice diaphragm, and the only things differing were the filter, the different carrier, and of course the hose sleeve. The PRV-U was produced in both white and later black, as you can see here, and used well into even, I believe, today, where it is mostly used as a training mask, as typical with these Soviet-era masks, but has been mostly phased out with other masks such as the PRV-M, and there was another prototype called the PRV-BE, which I don't believe is replacing anything. I think it was just a proof of concept that never got adopted, but in other words, there are other rocket refueling masks in current service with the Russian military that are very quickly phasing these out. The PRV-U is not the most difficult to find on the surplus market. However, it is a bit difficult to find as a complete set. Most of the times you will find these for sale. It is just the face piece alone, and finding one as a full kit can be a bit of a challenge, and the hardest components of the kit to get are the hose sleeve and the carrier. I pretty much only know of one place where you can get the hose sleeves, and the carriers are just kind of just nowhere. You either have to get them as a full kit or you won't ever have a full kit at all, pretty much. So before I ramble on any further, let's get down to the kit. The carrier here is quite different from most Soviet gas mask carriers in that it is made out of the same T-15 fabric material as the L-1 chemical suit and other types of chemical suits in service with the Russian military. Mine is quite discolored, as you can see here. It has a relatively thin shoulder strap, and it has a pretty much narrow waist strap, which is located very high up on the carrier, as you can see, and as usual detaches with a clip. The shoulder strap is non-detachable. You have an external pocket here for, I assume, some sort of decon kit, possibly an IPP-8 or something of that nature. The carrier opens with two studs, similar, or no, exactly the same as how as the type used on OZK and L1 suits, and I'm sure other Russian chemical suits as well. On the inside, you have some markings. This could signify the date, but I am unsure. Inside, you have the compartment. This is going to be a bit difficult to show off, but this is the compartment for the mask, and then this is the compartment for the filter with the two wooden blocks on the bottom, and also kind of a clear indicator for the filter is the two metal grommet holes on the bottom of that side. There is one other pouch on the center divider for either a spare voice membrane set or anti-fog insert set, which, by the way, these masks do have anti-fog inserts, but they are extremely rare. But anyhow, that's pretty much it for the carrier. Excuse the sniffling. Next up, we have the typical Russian hose. This is not the SHMP hoses that use the metal clamps, and by SHMP, I'm talking about those current production black GP5s that come with the hose and filter and carrier. This is a typical Russian military hose, not the more current industrial hoses, although this could have been used for industrial purposes, but virtually it's just identical to the Russian military ones. I keep wanting to say unidentical. I don't know why. Anyways, you have the hose sleeve here, which, again, I mentioned is a bit of a hard-to-find accessory. I do know one site where you can pick these up for about $12, but those will probably run out of stock if I let out the information of where they are, so I'm not going to give you the details on where that is, I guess. Mine is a bit discolored, as you can see. It's been used quite clearly, and there's even areas where the rubber is worn off and cracked. So this one definitely was used. And as you can see, there's this big rubber coupling, which does not go down to here. It doesn't go below the crimping. It actually meant to go over this crimping here, which I'm not going to demonstrate on film for you, but just do note that a lot of people put them only up to here when this rubber coupling is meant to go above the filter crimp. Unfortunately, I don't have the correct filter for this mask. I have an EOS 16, which is what would be used with your typical RSH4 setup, but the PRV-Us, as far as I can tell, are primarily issued with the EOS 68. The EOS 65, excuse me. But they're virtually identical. The only difference is in the filling of the canister and the markings, obviously, but otherwise you would not be able to tell them apart at a distance. Excuse the sniffling. I apologize for that. I shouldn't be making videos like this. Anyhow, onto the mask itself. Like I said, basically the same as an SHMS. In fact, the facepiece, as I said, is called SHMS-R, the R meaning Rakotnia, or whatever the Russian word is for rocketeers. As I mentioned, has an improved voice diaphragm that is more protective of the plastic membrane. And if you look back at my PMG2 review, it disassembles quite the same. It's a metal ring that unscrews from the outside. You have a metal plate that goes over the membrane itself. You have a plastic spacer ring. You have the diaphragm itself and a rubber gasket underneath there to keep a good seal. The valve assembly is the elongated type, similar to the SHM41M. However, it does have a little bit of a groove here, which is why some people assume that it's meant for the... I mean, I suppose you could wear it either way, with the hose sleeve along in this groove or above here. But for the most part, I think the correct way of wearing the hose sleeve is above the valve crimping. And I'd like to also mention that the SHMS seems to be loosely patterned off of the US M2 10116 lightweight optical masks, being that these were primarily designed as an optical gas mask. The main way I see it is just basically in the valve layout, and also the TSO deflectors are very long, as you can see. Unlike other Soviet masks, the covers for the ears do not have, unlike the PBF at least, it does not have several smaller holes of thinner material. It has one large hole, quote-unquote, that is made of thinner material, but and once again, I should advise to not punch that out. A lot of people, I see a lot of morons on YouTube who get PBFs and they basically punch out those ear holes because they think like, oh, it just flashes and you need to punch it out. No, you're supposed to leave it like that. But anyways, I digress. Markings on the mask. You have a facepiece lot of 952, made in Saratov City in the first quarter of 1988, and mine is a size 3 large. That's about the only Russian size I can fit at this point. Ugh. Bad time to pick making a video with the sniffling, I swear to God. I'll show off the inside of the mask for you, and then I'll wrap up the video because I'm sure you've heard enough of my rambling so far. The interior of the mask is nothing too special. You can see the little slits where the TSO deflector channels end near the lenses, and they work very well. Like, I would say this doesn't even need anti-fog inserts, just how well the TSO deflectors work. The eye lens crimping has no metal on it. It seems to be like a plasticized rubber material that seems to hold very well, and as you can see, there is a lip underneath there for installing the anti-fog inserts, and even potentially some sort of optical insert lenses. I'm not entirely sure if that was a thing, but it seems likely given the case of this mask. Obviously, no oronasal cup as standard with most Russian masks at the time. Got a similar eyelet valve assembly to the SHM's 62 and SHM41M masks. Got a voice diaphragm throughout the back there, easily seen, and that is about it for this mask. Anyhow, that was my review of the Russian PRV-U rocket refueler's mask. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, corrections, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section, and I'll see you all later.